The concept of a smart building isn't new, but in the past couple of years, the game has changed. It's now about autonomous smart buildings. And that's thanks to the rise of digital platforms, which brings me to Siemens Building X, the brain of your building. So think of it as the digital operating system that connects and optimizes everything inside your buildings. And importantly, in today's world, Building X is open and vendor agnostic. So that means no lock-in, no silos, just a secure cloud-based SaaS platform with open APIs, scales across portfolios. It integrates with your existing systems and keeps you ready for what comes next through continuous updates and with a low IT overhead. Now, why does this matter? Because buildings aren't just bricks and mortar anymore. They're front and center in the climate challenge. The world needs to transition to a net zero energy system by 2050. In today's world, right now, buildings account for about 40% of global emissions, and 75% of these emissions come from energy use in the buildings. On top of that, 75% of the building's life cycle cost sits in operations. And with around 90% of today's buildings expected to be in use in 2050, the opportunity and the necessity to retrofit existing stock is huge. Now, add to that the rising operational costs, tightening regulations such as the EU Energy Performance of Buildings Directive. There's mandatory EPC ratings, corporate sustainability reporting requirements, and the pressure on owners and operators has never been higher. Now, studies show that 5 to 30% of energy in commercial buildings is wasted due to control-related inefficiencies. Precisely the kind of waste Building X helps eliminate. Its promise is simple: from data to action. So it unites IT, OT, and IoT data through its architecture and streams and turns them into insights you can actually use. Now, the result: up to 30% energy savings, 10% higher net operating income, and 24/7 transparency across live and historical events. Now, I'm a big believer in seeing and trying things out in the real world. But many of us don't have direct access to a full building management system. And that's where the Building X online demo system really comes into its own. You'll see in the online tool there are multiple use cases for Building X, but let's focus on 3 quick ones that every stakeholder cares about. Energy and sustainability. So think AI-driven forecasting, decarbonisation planning, and real-time tracking, CO2 tracking to help you hit your net zero goals. Maintenance and operations. Think condition-based maintenance, automated workflows, and physical security. From visitor access data to incident response with data-driven false alarm reduction, so teams can focus on the real events. Now, these are just 3 examples, but what they show is that one platform can do it all. It's open, scalable, AI-enabled, and built to scale. And that's where Building X really starts to show its muscle. These are just 3 examples, but that's just scratching the surface, because what sits underneath it all is a platform that can take action, not just report on data. As I called out at the start, we're now talking about autonomous buildings, ones that can respond to issues and occupant needs and optimize performance with minimal human intervention. Now, there's different levels of autonomy, from making recommendations that folks can act on to automatically taking actions. But you can control that. And that means agile control of energy consumption, heating and lighting, access management, safety systems. All about creating a better occupant experience and lowering operating costs. Now, let's zoom in on operations and maintenance, because that's where many facilities teams feel the real pain every day. So imagine you're the operations manager for, say, a big university campus. You need to make sure all operational systems are running effectively, but you lack centralized data for making effective decisions. And you need real-time access to equipment health data for proactive management. Now, this is where Building X comes into its own as a unified platform to give you that real-time actionable insights into your systems, so you can streamline your decisions and keep performance on track. So let me quickly show you how this works. Within the demo here in the Streamline Asset Maintenance, you can actually drill into various different locations from Siemens around the world. And this one here will take us off to the Siemens building in Zug. So it tells me here, if I go through the demo, it says there is a temperature alarm triggered in a particular room. So I can dive straight in and it'll start telling me that, yeah, the temperature has gone up. Looks like there's something increasing. Let's take a look at the device. So I can drill down into the actual device. Now I can go further. I can start looking at images, real-time data, yada, yada, yada. But the idea is that you have the ability to dive straight in real time and see what's going on. And that allows you to make an informed decision. The Operations Manager app includes fault detection and diagnostics, FDD. That's a rule-based system that continuously monitors critical HVAC equipment. So think chillers, boilers, pumps, and cooling towers. So when performance drifts away from normal, and you know what normal is because you have the data, it flags the fault immediately and it prioritizes the issue and it provides data-driven accelerated resolution of the issue. And depending on the rule, it may suggest potential root cause of the issue for you to go off and fix. Now, AI capabilities will enhance this further, continuously learning from real-time data to enable predictive insights and automated condition-based repairs to be scheduled that will ultimately reduce downtime and maintenance cost. And because FDD is fully integrated into the Operations Manager, teams can view faults, assign work orders, and verify solutions directly from one dashboard. That's a big saving. That's moving from the firefighting to foresight, real-time monitoring, preventative actions, fewer surprises. And the outcome, you get lower costs, you have happier tenants, folks like you and me in a building, and more resilient buildings overall. So across the industry, as organizations still struggle with skill shortages, more ESG reporting demands, fragmented legacy systems, these are exactly the pain points that Building X addresses. By integrating data silos, streamlining workflows, and supporting leaner, more efficient operations. Now, different operators see different benefits. If you're a facility manager, you get centralized, real-time insight and automated alerts. If you're a building owner, that'll allow you to have lower OPEX, extended asset life, and stronger returns. And if you're an occupant, if you're someone like me or you that's in a building, you enjoy consistent comfort and fewer disruptions. In industries like healthcare, FDD helps maintain air quality and pressurization in critical areas like operating rooms and isolation units, protecting patients and ensuring compliance. In commercial real estate, it optimizes boiler and chiller performance to balance comfort and efficiency and saving money, right? So that's the big picture. Building X isn't just about managing today's challenges. It's about paving the way to human-centric autonomous buildings. Buildings that adapt, they self-optimize, they keep people at the center. To put it simply, it's the brain of your building. It's open, cloud-based, vendor agnostic. It's all about going from data to action. You can get up to 30% energy savings, 10% more on net operating income. It's enabling the transition to autonomous buildings. And again, there's nothing better than trying it out for yourself. So you can take a free 14-day Building X trial. There's a link in the post. So give it a try and see what you think. Anyway, that's Building X.